Conservative black leaders are calling for an end to incivility and the attacks on supporters of President Trump and his policies. Joining me now is Star Parker. She is president of the Center for Urban Renewal and Education. Star, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you. Good to be with you.
Last week, you joined with other African-American leaders calling for the censure of Representative Maxine Waters. She had said that she wanted people to publicly confront members of President Trump's administration. Why did you do that?
Well, because we were called upon by a young man who runs a new group here in town, and as a result of Maxine Waters not being censored when she made those comments a couple of weeks ago, after we'd seen a variety of incidents from Press Secretary Sarah Sanders in the restaurant, from protests inside of other restaurants, and others being followed.
Mitch McConnell,
the list was getting very, very long, and so some of Speaker Paul Ryan's colleagues asked him to censor her, and rather than that, he asked her to apologize. She did not do it. She became much more vocal, and then they went on break for the holiday. Well, during the holiday for the 4th of July, it escalated beyond the cabinet. Now, this Antifa group thinks that they can just pull over anyone, whether if you are a public figure, whether you're wearing a MAGA hat.
And what group?
It's called Antifa. People don't understand the war we're in. There's a group called Antifa, and then there's another group called Indivisible. What the left has done, this is the hard alt-left. They have organized themselves into these units. Some are familiar with Black Lives Matters. They're a member, but the Indivisible has like 89 different groups. So you're called any and every kind of left-wing group have now organized into umbrella groups. That's why they can show up in mass numbers.
Once that group took it on, then you felt the need to come out.
Well, she gave them reason to take it on, and now they've expanded it beyond just cabinet members. So we're having guys that are in Ubers with MAGA hats. My personal space has been invaded as a public figure. I moved out of my house 8 months ago because the LGBTQ community came after me because of I made a slight against their rainbow flag. So these are instances that are becoming very volatile in the grassroots. And so as a result of that, when they came back to session, when we saw nothing still being said as if this was just a passing news story, then we start moving into the Supreme Court. No, we must speak out. So when this gentleman came to me, we energized our base at CURE. You know, we have a network of 800 clergy, and a few of them were available to come out.
What's going to happen?
Short of a civil war?
Okay, well, we're hoping there isn't a civil war.
Well, if they don't tone it down, there will be. Because what's happening is you saw the result of even the Red Hen. This is not the first time we saw it after
the Red Hen was the restaurant in Virginia where Sarah Sanders and her family were asked to leave.
They were asked to leave, and then the owner followed them to the next restaurant, and the next thing you know, the alt-right shows up protesting the restaurant. Yes, this could end up the same thing we saw in Charlottesville, which ended up with the death of a young woman. It could happen all across this country.
Which was a racism
It was the alt-left and the alt-right. But what Maxine Waters did was energize the alt-left to say, go get them everywhere.
Will she be censured?
I doubt it, and that's the problem. You'd have to have a whole lot of backbone to censure, and you'd have to have the votes. It's going to take about 2/3 of the Congress. But it's really important, and people don't understand censure and what it really means when you get that kind of black mark. So if I can just say in a nutshell things that most people do understand is if you're in a court of law and the judge says to the prosecutor and or the defense attorney, I am going to, you better be quiet now before I hold you in contempt of court. It's very meaningful to them, and that's what we're talking about when it comes to censure. The Congress has the ability to check itself.
Thank you so much, Star Parker, president for the Center of Urban Renewal and Education.